DraftKings Fantasy Sports. It's official. Padres traded Juan Soto and Trent Grisham yesterday to the Yankees for Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Kyle I can't even say his name. Higgy.
Higashioka.
The catcher that can't hit. The NBA in-season tournament semifinals.
Another one?
Yeah. Congratulations, everybody. The NBA in-season tournament semifinals underway. Bucks and Pacers, game one of a doubleheader. Right now, the Pacers lead the Bucks 48-40 with 5 minutes left in the first half. And later tonight, second game of the doubleheader, Lakers taking on the Pelicans. You can listen to that game right here at 6 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
What a difference 24 hours makes. San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, Jon and Jim, we are here to react. Officially official, Juan Soto on his way to the Bronx. Great giveaways today. Annie Heilbrunn will join us from the UT at 5 p.m. We do have Aztec tickets for Saturday night. San Diego State, UC Irvine, Saturday night, Viejas Arena. We'll give those away. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. And we want to hear from you. A lot of you were weighing in yesterday with your feelings before this thing was official. Some saying, man, I really hope it happens. Others saying, please, no. Tell me this isn't going to be accurate, that the Padres aren't actually trading away a future Hall of Famer. Now that you've taken this in.
Oh, no, they did.
Now that you've seen the return, now that you understand they have payroll flexibility, now that you know Juan Soto will never again put on a San Diego Padres uniform, presumably, including in Cooperstown, because he played just 200 games here. How do you feel about this? I mean, how are you taking this all in, Padres fans? 844-570-1360. Day one without Juan Soto. They got the prospects coming back, but they don't have Juan Soto. And it feels like a new era. It really does. We had that period of time under Peter Sidler where spending was never an issue, acquisitions left and right. They were the talk of the sport. It just feels like we're on the other side of that. It's a new day in San Diego, and I don't know what to really make of it other than the fact that they just traded away Juan Soto for a myriad of prospects with the New York Yankees.
So the first thing, whenever these big trades go down with your team, the first question is why? Why did they have to trade Juan Soto? Why did they trade a future Hall of Famer, generational talent, 25-year-old, just getting into his prime? Like, why did they do that? And the easy answer to that is, well, they didn't have any money. Why didn't they have any money? Well, it wasn't because of just Juan Soto. It wasn't like his fault. They did a myriad of things leading up to yesterday that, I mean, I don't know how else you can put it, but was misstep after misstep after misstep by AJ Preller. It just was. Like, you can't spin it any other way. The reason why they traded Juan Soto is because of all of the things that they did financially that led up to this move. It just is. Now, there were a couple things out of their control. Number one, the TV deal. I think the TV deal is going to play a huge role into this team's future. Maybe the near future more than the long-term future of this team, but the immediate future with no TV deal, it's going to hurt you. And then number two, which was out of their control, and it's still sad to even think about, but the passing of Peter Sidler at the end of this year. A man who at times it felt like he didn't care about what other people thought about how much money he spent. He's, even told Marty, I like spending a lot of money. Who cares if I spend another $500 million contract? When I'm gone, that money's, who cares, right? Like, I like to spend that money. So there's a lot of factors going into the Juan Soto trade yesterday. And my personal feelings on it is I hate it. I hate it from a lot of different standpoints. One, you just trade away Juan Soto. Number two, you're not a better baseball team today. Yes, you now have flexibility. Yay. But it all depends on what AJ Preller does with that flexibility to determine if this trade, I guess, was worth it or not. Okay. And even then, I still look at it like, well, whatever players he gets, I hope they can help this team out to a level that they're going to make the postseason next year and into the future. But at this point in time, there is no question about it, and you can't argue it. This baseball team is far worse off today on the field than it was yesterday.
What's interesting is when Kevin Acee joined us yesterday, and you asked the specific question of would this have been different with Peter Sidler still as owner, and he immediately said no. The payroll was coming down. Kevin had a strong relationship with Peter that he has detailed in his writings previously. He had the last sit-down interview with Peter, which was this past summer, and he was under the belief that regardless of Peter's health, the payroll was coming down. Now, could you have gotten that payroll down and kept Juan Soto? That's a conversation for today or another day. Ultimately, AJ Preller made a decision that, considering the hand he had, now he dealt himself the hand. So it's not like someone else dealt him the hand. He dealt himself the hand. But with the hand he had, he figured, for me to put a competitive roster on the field, I have to bite the bullet. He even said that yesterday. He's like, I don't have a lot of, good feelings about trading away a future Hall of Famer. Like that's a tough pill to swallow. But knowing that I've got a budget I need to get to, knowing I have things I need to address, I felt as if I had no other choice. Again, he put himself in the spot. I agree with you. I don't think the Padres are better.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him one bit if he's upset about it.
Now, I will say this. He now has this offseason to go put together a roster that's capable of being competitive and try to reach the postseason in 2024. Now, does he have a great track record with putting together complete rosters? It's a facetious question. But that's now on him. He's got some money to work with. He's got some players that are going to be on his opening day roster now, including Michael King, including a backup catcher, potentially others. He doesn't have Juan Soto. He's got to complete his roster, and he's got to make this team competitive. Otherwise, he won't be here in 2025. Simple as that.
That's the thinking. You just don't. You just don't know, right? I thought if this team failed like they did this past year, like there was no way he was going to be returned.
That's true.
No way. Like, especially after the 2021 season, that failure and that disaster. I'm like, yo, you got no more chances.
Right.
And then after 2022, you're like, okay, they're in the right direction.
Right.
But I just go back to like, man, if this was the plan all along to always trade Juan Soto,
no way this was the plan.
I think that's a flat out lie.
I think they go with the wind.
I do too.
The plan in 2022 was one thing. The plan in 2023 was different. The plan in 2024 is different.
You know how many different plans this team has had and directions this team has had? Like for a 4-year window when Preller first became GM, it was prospect. Look at our prospects. We're number 1 in the prospect rankings. Yay. Who cares about the Major League Club, which is the most important thing that people actually really care about. But look at our prospects. And then that blew up in their face because all their prospects didn't turn out to do anything. All right. And then they're like, you know what? Actually, we're going to start spending money. And they started spending money. And they didn't know how to spend the right money. And they didn't know how to spend it in a smart way. And it was all just like reactionary. Ooh, that's this nice shiny object. Let me go get that piece. Let me get that piece. Instead of thinking about the potential consequences going forward. And also finding players that like fit. And Preller didn't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then running off manager after manager, and then having articles written about you that's dysfunction in the organization. So yeah, I sit here today, and this is just my personal opinion. I mean, you can think what you want, fans, but like I look at Michael King and Drew Thorpe and all these other prospects, and I'm like, okay, cool. I hope they work out. But to me, in my mind, you just replaced Seth Lugo, and you just put a couple other prospects in your organization.
Here would be my question.
You're not
today.
better today. You're not even close to better today.
Well, here's what I would say. And it's kind of like an incomplete grade on their offseason because the offseason is nowhere near over. So that's the one thing I would say. Like this idea that they've got holes to fill. Well, yeah, they're going to fill them. I mean, that's the job of AJ Preller. Will he do it successfully or not? Remains to be seen. My question would be, do you have faith in AJ Preller putting together an offseason where he can make this team competitive in 2024? Like, is he going to make the moves that put the Padres in position to get to the postseason in 2024? 844-570-1360. Because here's one thing I do know. He freed up 30 plus million in payroll. He's got holes in the outfield. He's got holes in the rotation. He's got holes in his bullpen. He's got holes on his bench. You could argue about first base with Jake Cronenworth. They're trying to move him. So what does he do now? What's the order of business? How does he address all these needs? And what is the actual budget? Is he going to get to 200 million like Kevin Acey's been reporting? Is he going to finish at 175, which is way below that number? Will they blow through 200 and be higher than that? But if they actually use the money that they just quote unquote saved with Grisham and Soto and they reallocate it, can they put together a roster that's capable of winning in 2024? That's the only question for me. Soto's gone.
Yeah,
we can rehash it, but the only question now is, can you put together a roster with the money you now have that can compete or not?
And I see a lot of this with my feeling on the trade. Like, I don't like to see a team trade a generational player away for a salary dump. Like, say what you want. Yeah, they got a nice pitcher in Michael King. We'll see if it turns out. Maybe a couple prospects. Okay. Backup catcher that can't hit. But at the end of the day, the headline is not Juan Soto traded for Michael King. The headline at the end of the day is Juan Soto traded from the Padres to free up salary, because Preller used the magic word last night that hasn't really been used here in the last 5 years, which is budget. This team is now on a strict budget, when before it wasn't.
Well, we knew that, right?
We knew it. It's just when he says it, you're like, okay.
Now, I will say this. I mean, I have no clue if Michael King's going to be good here. I have no clue if Drew Thorpe's going to be good here. I can't fully guarantee you Juan Soto is going to be perfect with the New York Yankees. I have no clue. It's all in the future. You listen to what people are saying. Keith Law with Darren Smith, Kyle Glazer, Baseball America, others that cover the sport for a living. Nobody's saying the Padres got fleeced. Nobody's saying the return isn't reasonable considering you're giving up 1 year of Juan Soto. It feels like the return they got, where they didn't go high ceiling return, they went needs return. And you could argue the merits of that. But nobody's saying that their return is unreasonable, that the Yankees got Juan Soto for nothing. This isn't the Mookie Betts deal.
And I've always said, well, we don't know that.
But it isn't the Mookie Betts deal on day one. Day one of the Mookie Betts deal was the Red Sox got fleeced. And nobody's saying that covers the sport.
And I did say this about Preller, is he's not a guy that I can see on initial trade, on an initial trade that he makes, where you say that, oh yeah, he got fleeced, which is to your point, which is true. On initial glance, did Preller get fleeced? I don't think he got fleeced, but I also don't deem it like this great trade.
Kylie McDaniel, A+, Padres return.
All right.
Keith Law, excellent return. Kyle Glazer, excellent return.
Well, I do think that you also have to point out here that to me, if it's an A+ return, it means that you used the money that you freed up from Juan Soto and you went out and you signed quality players.
That makes it a real A+ return.
That actually perform for you on good deals, not crazy, stupid deals.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then I can grade it. But as of right now, I can't. I can't give this.
Well, that's why I say incomplete. I agree with you. I'm not saying, hey, what a win. They traded Juan Soto. But I would say incomplete. Nobody wants to trade Juan Soto. The team that gets Juan Soto, like we said a year and a half ago, is winning this trade. The front page headline in New York is not we traded Michael King. It's we got Juan Soto.
Yeah.
So, of course, with all that being said, we don't know what is to come of the Padres on the other side of this. It could be an utter disaster. We'll grade it accordingly. They could somehow find a way to put together a competitive roster. Then we'll grade it accordingly. That's why I would say right now, I was never a fan of trading Juan Soto. I've said it repeatedly. Anyone that's listened to us or watched us. With all that being said, I think it's all incomplete. Until I see what he does with the money, until I see how these players perform for the San Diego Padres in 2024 and beyond, I'm not going to wait 5 years to judge it, but let's see what happens in 2024. If they win, wow, he figured it out. If they don't, peace. Let someone else be the general manager and make baseball decisions.
And for the people out there that are saying this was necessary, like this
Mhm.
had to happen, there was no way around it.
Okay.
Then I tell you, all right, if there was no way around it, whose fault is that? Who is the reason why this is a there's no way around it move? It's AJ Preller.
If it was a pie chart, he'd get most of the blame. But like you said, there's some things that maybe were out of the control. TV deal.
Yeah. I know.
Those things like they were at 260 in payroll roughly last year, and now they're
Yeah.
going to 200. Is that his fault? They're going from 260 to 200. I don't know. Maybe because they didn't win in 2023.
And I don't think it's fair to blame your owner that unfortunately isn't with us anymore for doing things that maybe people will say that he did over AJ Pleller's head, like giving Manny Machado a $350 million contract extension, giving Xander Bogaerts a $280 million contract, right? Get for some random reason, giving Jake Cronenworth $80 million. I'm not going to do that. But I mean, Preller's the general manager. He's the guy that, I mean, you think he was all these moves, he was like adamantly like, no, I don't want those to happen. But then Peter Sidler's like, actually, I want them to happen. I'm gonna make him do it.
Well, that was always my argument with Machado, because I was told repeatedly that that was all Sidler. But I'm like, really? You tell me Preller didn't want to extend Manny Machado? That was all Sidler? Because now, what do you say? I mean, I believe that Preller was involved in that.
I agree. There was a bunch of moves here that got us to this point. And then you're immediately going to trust the guy that made all of these wrong moves to put this team in this position to trade a generational 25-year-old to then fix it all?
Yeah, you typically wouldn't want to like if he is lame duck, if he loses his job within the next, let's say 9 months, at the end of the season, 10 months, you had a lame duck GM make a massive trade involving a future Hall of Famer. That was the person you tasked with making the trade.
Yeah.
That would be odd. Also, he's going to be in charge of this team, presumably at the trade deadline as well this year. I would say that AJ Preller has a lot of motivation, and he proved it with this trade. He's got motivation to make his 2024 team good and not 2025, where when he got the job 10 years ago, he had time to work with. He could have gone through this strategy, the rebuild, prospect calls. He can't do it anymore. He could never have made this trade about 18-year-olds in A-ball, because he's not going to see that thing out. He needs to make his major league roster good right now, or he's not going to be in charge.
Well, did he make his major league roster?
Well, yeah.
better?
I mean, he got 5 players, 4 are going to be in his big league roster next year. Where if he would have made a trade with another team or 4 guys with high, if he would have I'll give you an example. If Ethan Salas was in the Yankees organization and he just traded for a 17-year-old, but he's not paying dividends in 2024, does that protect AJ Preller's job? Let's say he gets the top prospect in baseball, Ethan Salas. He's got an amazing future, maybe as early as 2025, 26. He traded Juan Soto for Ethan Salas, but it doesn't help him in 2024, and the Padres don't win. I don't think that helps AJ Preller. I think AJ Preller with this deal is thinking about 2024 more than anything else.
And that's to your point of like, going forward, you got to try to win now.
Yeah, I think he does. I don't think he has any choice.
I just personally, I just don't see how this trade today, at this point in time, not putting all the potential moves, like, because those things are, we don't know what they're going to be. We don't know even if they're going to make sizable moves. We don't even know like what the moves are going to be. At this point in time, after that trade last night, they're not a better team. They're worse. Like, who says that Michael King is going to do any better than potentially Michael Walker?
Nobody knows.
And what we did know is Juan Soto gave 920. So you're a worst baseball team today. You have now cleared up a good amount of money to go out and make moves, but you're also trusting in the guy that made all the wrong moves that put you in this situation to trade away the player that you touted as you got for 3 playoff runs. Also,
yeah, that's a bad look.
It is. And also this notion, and I'm not like really disagreeing, I'm just like giving a counterpoint of, oh, well, they weren't going to re-sign Juan Soto anyway. They never even made him a contract offer.
Which also tells you that they
So,
were not going to resign Juan
so
Soto.
well, if they, I would have been on board 100% with that notion that they weren't going to reassign Juan Soto if they went the route that the Nationals did, which is we know they offered him a $450 million contract.
Right.
And he declined that. So if you're a Nationals fan or in that media market, you're saying he's not resigning here, which you're like, okay, then you got to trade him. But you don't even know if what number the Padres would have offered Juan Soto at all. So yes, I do agree, majority, that do I think they would have probably re-signed Juan Soto? Probably not.
No chance.
But at the same time, you didn't even make a contract.
Yeah, but this is an example. You ever been to an auction? We were at one actually a couple of weeks ago, Mesa Foundation, where people are holding up whatever that's called, like where there's an auctioneer.
Yeah.
The Padres couldn't have even made for Juan Soto because they probably didn't even want him to say yes. If they throw out $400 million, like, hey, here's $400 million, like, okay. Like, we don't even have the money.
Why couldn't they have made a contract offer to him?
Because they're lowering payroll and they're completely out of whack with whatever they thought they were a year ago. They're going from 260 to 200. There's no room for Juan Soto.
There's no room for Juan Soto because the moves that were made by this organization.
No doubt. There's no question about it. They misjudged a lot. This is like you look at your books or you look at your debt and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I have you never think the bill is due until it's due. I mean, they were so free spending until they're unable to do it. They literally have Major League Baseball calling them saying, get your debt in order. And they're taking out loans. So you can't take out loans and then give Juan Soto $500 million, just like you can't trade Juan Soto and then go sign Shohei Ohtani. They don't have the money. You can't bring in Blake Snell, even though you freed up the money with Soto. They don't have the money.
It's just a shame that we'll never know if they even had a chance to re-sign Juan Soto because of all the stupid moves they
Yeah, potentially.
Yes. And I said it when they traded for Juan Soto. I would have been fine with 2.5 seasons, but but as long as you get 3 playoff runs, or at least you get 2, and you got to get 2 long ones. If you win a World Series, who the f cares? That's the whole goal. You win a World Series, you can go play for whoever, but you got the championship. You made the NLCS, but after that, it was a tank dive. So we'll never know. And AJ Preller put them in this position. And now the trust of a lot of people in AJ Preller, after seeing what he did to put them here, and have to trade Juan Soto. So now go out and build a cohesive roster when he really never built a cohesive roster.
All right, more of our reaction and your reaction. What do you make of this trade? What do you make of it? 844-570-1360. How are you feeling as a Padre fan after 3-4 years of wheeling and dealing now to be on the other side with Juan Soto on the way out the day after? 844-570-1360. Annie Halbrin from the UT. She will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We've got tickets to give away. San Diego State, UC Irvine Saturday night. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration as well. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
Harrison Bader had it. Isn't it nice?
All right, on the other side, now that Juan Soto has been traded, what is next for AJ Preller? We'll tell you next. JD Gaucho, thank you for the super chat. Guys, if you're here, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, we appreciate it. Look at Jim. That's Jim up against the wall, dying. Gotcha. Thank you for the super chat, guys. We get to every single super chat. It breaks. If you want to support the channel, click the $sign below the chat box. If you wouldn't mind subscribing for Jim, he would appreciate it. He says he underestimated New Mexico. They made, is it AJ Mitchell? Miserable. He shot 4 of 17. Only other team in 2023 to do that was Baylor in the NCAAs. Lobos rolled UCSB. I saw that score last night. New Mexico is playing great basketball. The Mountain West is playing unbelievable basketball. You've got 5 teams right now inside the top 40 in San Diego State. It's going to be a really challenging year in the league, and I'm really looking forward to it. But New Mexico kind of had San Diego State's number last year. Viejas nearly beat them at the pit in New Mexico. So looking forward to seeing the Lobos later this year. And best of luck to UCSB as they get here in 2023-24. Thank you, JD. We'll be back in a minute. As you know, Jim doesn't care. We'll be back in a moment. Thanks, guys.
All right, this update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres last night made it official with the Yankees trading Juan Soto and Trent Grisham for Michael King and prospects Drew Thorpe, also pitcher Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Kyle Higgy. I'm just going to call him Higgy. He's just a catcher, backup catcher. And the NBA in-season tournament semifinals underway between the Milwaukee Bucks and Indiana Pacers right now, start of the third quarter, with the Pacers leading 63-51. I told you the Pacers were good. And later tonight, game 2 of the doubleheader and the other semifinal matchup between the Lakers and the Pelicans. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, Padres fans, we want to hear from you. We see you on the lines. We're going to get you in a moment. How are you feeling the day after Juan Soto's been traded? 844-570-1360. Would it make you feel any better? Well, 2 things. This hour, in the next 30 minutes, we're giving away San Diego State UC Irvine tickets. This game is sold out Saturday night. We have 2 free tickets for you. But would it make you feel any better if what Dennis Lin wrote today in The Athletic comes to fruition, if you're a Padres fan, like San Diego going after Jung-Hoo Lee, Korean MVP caliber 25-year-old outfielder, or making a trade for Shane Bieber, right, starting pitcher, or potentially also trading away Jake Cronenworth? If any of those things come to fruition on the other side of a Juan Soto trade, are you feeling better, Padres fans? 844-570-1360.
Hey.
Jim, before we go to the phones, would you feel better if they landed Shane Bieber and acquired Jung-Hoo Lee?
Hey, I love hypotheticals.
Well, something is going to happen. I mean, do you want to wait for them to make their next move?
I'm kind of in a wait.
You're wait. You don't. They're going to make moves.
I did say, look, when the dust settles, if you end up going out and getting a frontline starter somewhere, and then you add Michael King, and then does Jung-Hoo Lee excite you? For me, that to me is a risk because he's never played in the big leagues before. We saw what happened with Ha-Seong Kim. It took him 3 years to really pop. I don't know if the Padres can afford to wait 3 years. What other impact bats are out on the market that you could go out and get? I mean, you have literally no left-handers in your lineup now. Like
Jung-Hoo Lee.
Like besides Matt Carpenter.
And Jung-Hoo Lee.
Who's not even on the team yet.
Correct.
But other than that, you just lost your best left-handed hitter, one of the best left-handed hitters in the game. Trent Grisham, say whatever you want about him. Whatever. But you're going to need a left-handed bat, preferably. Center fielder, left fielder, a first baseman, a DH, 2 starting pitchers.
You know what?
Bench pieces.
I think they'll have all those players by opening day. I bet they'll have a center fielder.
They will.
A left fielder.
But is the center fielder good? Is
I
the
have
left
no
fielder
clue.
good?
But
Is
that's
the
what I'm saying.
first
Would you
baseman
feel
good?
better if they landed Shane Bieber or Jung-Hoo Lee? Or are they just going to call on Matt Waldron to be their 4th starter and Pedro Avila to be their 5th starter?
Well, when we find out what the
Then
roster
we'll
looks like, then we'll say if this offseason was I'm not going to say good,
but better than a failure.
Better, but just above better than a failure. Yeah.
844-570-1360. A lot of people want to weigh in. We appreciate the patience. Let's start with Sean on line 2. Sean, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in, man.
I appreciate it. So 2 quick points. I think I'm okay with it. I think there was too many cooks in the kitchen. We saw it in the middle of last season, but things weren't going well. I just think the heads were buttoned. And even though you can't just live on star power, I think this is going to open up our depth, our bench, what have you. And then second point, Preller can't draft or develop pitching. So if these pitchers actually work out, I think it'll be gold. I mean, you look at Gore, Paddock, and Weathers. So obviously we need pitching, and hopefully he can draft skill positions, which he's been shown to do. So that's what I think.
Thanks, Sean. And yeah, Preller, that's a good point by Sean. Is Preller has not drafted and developed one pitcher in his time here in San Diego to a level that is top of the rotation type of pitcher.
Yeah, not a starter.
Not a starter.
Yep.
Relievers, definitely.
Yeah, there's been some guys.
Yeah, it's been fine.
Including last year.
Yeah, but starters, not even close. So the idea of like, hey, let's go see if we can get other people's pitching prospects
that they've developed.
And they turn into maybe frontline starters for us and really impact arms coming, out of the bullpen and whatever.
And the Ruben Niebla factor, like you wouldn't think is a negative. You got some guys that have had decent year. Michael King had a better than decent year.
Yeah.
The other 2 guys that could start the year either in the rotation or the bullpen, the Burritos, the Vasquezes, had a level of success a year ago in the big leagues for the Yankees. One of them threw 90 innings. And then you got this Drew Thorpe, who was a 2nd-round pick out of Cal Poly that's only pitched 1 year in the minor leagues, that has a high upside, that's a big right-handed pitcher. We have no idea if he pans out. But I do like putting some faith in Ruben Niebla to continue to develop these pitchers that it sounds like the Yankees to some extent have already developed. To some extent.
Yeah.
Certainly Michael King.
I'll put faith in Ruben Niebla.
Let's go back to the phones. 844-570-1360. Padres fans, the day after Juan Soto has been traded, how are you feeling? What's next for AJ Preller? If you just want to talk to someone, 844-570-1360. We're here for you. Mike on line 5. You're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling.
How are you guys doing today?
We're good,
We're
man. How
good.
are you?
I'm not too well.
Okay. Why?
This guy, Soto, I've never seen a guy barrel a ball like he can with that short swing. It's ridiculous. His bat speed is off the charts. This is one of the best Padre players I've ever seen in my life. Okay? And I know Jim will agree with that. I just want to say, how much lipstick can you put on the AJ Lucy Preller pig? Okay? This guy's been in charge for 8-9 years now. My head is spinning around right now. I can't trust him as far as I can look at him right now. I don't trust anything he says anymore. And I'm not a season ticket holder. I've just watched the Padres. I've been a Padres fan since '69. Used to work at the stadium back in the day. Okay? My dad sold beer. I mean, I watched every season, almost every game. And this just takes everything out of me right now. I mean, I just can't explain it. What are you doing? Why can't you at least have him for 2 years till August, at least the trading deadline, and see what he can do? And then maybe you can get some decent ball players. But I don't know what he's got right now. Everything right now is theoretical, is hypothetical. If that makes any sense to you guys.
Mike, we sympathize. I mean, listen, I think a lot of Padres fans feel like Mike because they've seen the Padres in this spot many more times than the other spot.
Yeah.
They've typically filled the role of small market afterthought as opposed to big market spender. And the fear now is, are they going back to what they were? That's a big fear, I think, of Padres fans. We haven't even heard from the new ownership group.
Yeah.
Not the new ownership group, but the Eric Kutsenda,
point man.
who's ever representing the ownership group right now. So there's this fear out there, but the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, there's been a lot of times in this Padres franchise history where the Padres were the ones trading away the proven player, best player in the deal, and getting what back?
Prospects.
I think one of the only trades in Padres history that you could view as like worked out pretty damn well was the Gary Sheffield and Trevor Hoffman trade.
It's one of the only trades in the history of the franchise. You're saying with that level of star power?
With that level of star power. Like Gary Sheffield, I mean, getting traded there, like, yeah, you're like, whoa, Gary Sheffield,
Sure.
who they get back? Trevor Hoffman turned into a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying every trade needs to be that level where you trade away a star player, all-star player.
And you get a Hall of Famer.
You get a Hall of Famer back. You kind of got to have some luck in there, right?
Think Michael King's a Hall of Famer?
I don't. But going, like, when you see a star player traded, I don't know how you can't help but, like, be upset about it.
Sure.
You know, and I see a lot of people, you know, crapping on Juan Soto, and I don't get it. I really don't. Like, oh, we don't need Juan Soto.
Right.
Like, oh, we don't need one of the best players, one of the best hitters in the game. He's not that great. Like, okay, really? So you're going to just crap on the player that leaves and then trust in the guy that did all of these moves that sucked to trade away this player. I don't know. It's frustrating. I get it. If you're frustrated out there, I 100% sympathize with you. It's hard for me to sympathize with the person that is okay that they traded Juan Soto yesterday.
I mean, okay is one thing. To pretend like you're better off is another.
That
with
too.
it because of the realization is one thing. And listen, I've been the biggest proponent of Juan Soto as a Padre of anyone. Yet, I want to be fair. The truth is, in his 214 games as a San Diego Padre, he was a very good player. I do not think in his time as a Padre, he was an elite top 5 offensive player in the game. That's me saying it as a huge proponent. They were 4 games over 500. I'm not putting that all on him. It's like saying Ohtani never made the postseason as an Angel, or Mike Trout has played in 3 postseason games. I'm just, to put it all in perspective, he was very good. You could see everything that everyone's ever talked about this player. But I said it a week ago. What are those tangible, stick with you forever moments in Juan Soto's tenure as a Padre? Again, I thought he was a very good player. I didn't see in his 200-plus games one of the top 5 players in the game. I saw a very good player that was capable of that never lived up to that. Is that fair?
I just think, and you said it, and we got a break, but there was no plan.
There was no plan.
None.
There was
zero.
no plan.
When the plan should have been the second you trade for Juan Soto, you do everything in your power to keep Juan Soto and build around Juan Soto and make sure that no matter what, you keep him for at least 2.5 seasons, which is what they proclaimed, and you fumbled the bag big time.
Yeah, we never saw. I don't think we even saw the best of Juan Soto. I think he'll be better on the other side. I think he was better before he got here, and I think that'll play out probably in 2024. More of your calls. We see you on the lines. 844-570-1360. How are you reacting to the Padres trading away Juan Soto, and can they salvage 2024 on the other side with this payroll flexibility or not? 844-570-1360. Plus, next, we'll give away Aztec tickets for a sold-out game Saturday night at Viejas Arena. That's next. We will give away Aztec basketball tickets for a sold-out game Saturday night, this Saturday night at Viejas Arena on the other side. Plus, react to more of your calls on the trade of Juan Soto to the Yankees. 844-570-1360. That's next. All right, in 5 minutes, we'll give away Aztec basketball tickets. Sold out game Saturday night, Viejas Arena. Be listening. We'll tell you when to call. Do not call now if you want those tickets. We'll have them for you in about 5 minutes. We'll tell you when to call. Sold out game, secondary market, I think through GoAztecs.com. Big game for San Diego State off that loss to Grand Canyon. Let's go back to the phones here. A lot of people want to weigh in. Juan Soto is now a New York Yankee. Now what for the Padres? Let's start with Dave on line 4, 844-570-1360. Dave, you're on once again with Jon and Jim.
Well, gentlemen, a little bit different from yesterday at this time, but okay, so let's get this straight here. I got about 3 points. Try to be as quick as I can. So, in essence, we've lost Juan Soto in the totality of the last 2 years here. Juan Soto and the entire group that we gave away to Washington in exchange for Michael Wood and another bunch of bag of rocks. That doesn't look too good, and I consider myself at least a halfway knowledgeable baseball person. I've never heard of any of these guys. To boot, to go on the other side of this, on the financial side, God, is as strange as it is, I have to give AJ a little bit of leeway on what's happened over the last year or so. They knew Peter was in bad shape, and I think that was well known. They tried to go for it, knowing his health was in peril. They spent a hell of a lot of money to try to get there, came up snake eyes, lost the TV contract on top of that, which is a huge, gigantic hole. And let me just say one last thing. I personally hold Major League Baseball in contempt for dereliction of their duty as financial guardians of all the teams and what they allowed to happen with Bally's. $66 million down the drain for what was never a realistic figure to begin with. Why the hell didn't Major League Baseball step in a long time ago and say, look, man, if you're going to promise $66 million, you better come up with some numbers on paper that are verifiable. I don't think they did that. I think they just all were fat, dumb, and happy. And the Padres are suffering for this, and they're going to suffer for a long time, guys.
Dave, appreciate it. Yeah, the TV thing sucks, and they're the first of a number of teams that will go through it. Arizona was the second. There'll be more this year.
Yeah, and I agree with him on that point. Is like I hate how baseball. There's only like 4 or 5 teams that can ever sustain and have all this money, and nobody says anything about it. Like
What-
the Padres have had spent all this money, and all we heard over the last couple of years was this isn't sustainable.
Yeah,
this
this
isn't
that's
like no one's
crazy.
saying that about the Mets
No, they're in New York, and their TV deal is much larger than
or
the
the
Padres.
Yankees, and that's the problem with baseball is you got different rules for different teams. It's a joke.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That's fair. It's like saying the difference between like Power 5 and Group of 5 football. I mean, there's advantages. There's no question about it. You got to overcome things. There's no question the Yankees have inherent advantages over the Brewers.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the Brewers can't win a World Series, but it's harder. That's accurate. I agree with that. Same thing with the Padres. Let's go back to the phones. We'll give away Aztec tickets in 2 minutes. John, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to say that I know this all looks bad in hindsight, but I was super excited when we got Juan Soto. I think everyone was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad to see that our team was going for it. I mean, we were really going for it. Now, it didn't work out, and they're doing what they have to do, and I can understand it. I don't hold any grudges. Soto was a great player on, at least that's what we heard. He was this generational talent. I think he's going to do great in New York because that's a really good hitter's park for him. But just to be honest here, with us, he was good, but he wasn't great. And if you look at his breakdown, he batted in 81 games. He batted 240 at Petco Park last season with 12 home runs. So I think he's going to do way better in New York. And people are going to go, "Oh God, look, he hit 50 home runs for the Yankees. How can we let him go?" If we kept him, he would not do that for us.
Probably
so
true.
I'm glad to see that they're doing what they need to do, and hopefully they'll be able to take this money and do what they did last year with picking up guys like a Walker or a Lugo, some of those types that can fill in our rotation. And I think we can still win with the guys we have.
Thank you, John. Good call.
When they traded for Juan Soto, do you think that there was any talk of like we're probably gonna have to trade him after next year?
No, not in the moment. No way. Because he wouldn't have said what he said publicly then, the 3 pennant races. I don't think so. I don't.
So that's where the
The
missteps lie.
Yeah,
the issues
definitely.
lie. Is if you're thinking wasn't, oh, we're probably gonna have to trade Juan Soto after next season, then what the hell happened? Oh, I know. Like all
they misspent.
Yeah, they misspent, and all the moves they made led you to this point where you are now. It's being viewed as it was a necessary move because you effed up.
John makes an interesting point real quick, and then we'll give away these tickets.
John who?
John, the caller.
Oh, yeah.
And me. But
You're
Juan
John.
Soto at home, here are the splits. 240 batting, 398 on base is very good. 429 slugging is not. His OPS at home was 827. His OPS on the road was 1,026. You cannot hit at Petco Park. I'm telling you, man, you see that time and time again.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the beneficiary of not having to play more than 3 games at Petco Park in 2024. He just will. His numbers will be better in 2024 as a Yankee. All right. Caller 7 right now. You've got 2 free tickets to a sold-out game Saturday night at Viejas Arena. San Diego State, UC Irvine at 7:30. 844-570-1360. Caller 7, you've got 2 free tickets. Great giveaway. Call right now, 844-570-1360. More of your calls on the other side, plus the wrap. Andy Halpern from the UT swings by at 5 p.m. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. It's official. The trade between the Yankees and the Padres went down last night. Juan Soto, Trent Grisham on their way to New York for Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Kyle. What's his name?
I say Higashioka, but it might be like Higashioka.
I'll just call him Higgy.
That's fine.
Okay. Backup catcher. NBA in-season tournament semifinals underway. Game 1 of a doubleheader, Bucks and Pacers. Pacers right now trail the Bucks after 3, heading to the fourth quarter, 94-91. Winner will move on to the finals to take on the winner of the Lakers-Pelicans matchup later tonight, 6 p.m. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We'll get to the wrap in a moment. Annie Halpern from the UT will swing by at 5 p.m. Her reaction to the Juan Soto trade. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to give away to SeaWorld San Diego for their Christmas celebration this hour. Before we get to the Padres, can we give a shout out to Sean Lewis and his staff?
Yeah, of course we can.
Okay, so he took the job. What's today? Thursday? Is it Thursday or Wednesday? Thursday.
Thursday. Feels like a Friday.
We were there 8 days ago.
Yeah,
Okay, at the press conference at Snapdragon.
correct.
In those 8 days, he's done more than you and I, and we've done a lot.
Yeah, we're not head coaches of a football team.
Well, we've done like wrap-up shows and stuff.
Yeah, we've done a lot of wrap-up shows.
Wrap-up shows and radio shows.
Yeah.
So in the last 8 days, he's hired somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 members of his staff.
Yes.
He has, how many offers has San Diego State put out to prospective student athletes over the last couple of days that we've seen on social? A lot, right?
A good amount.
I don't know the number, but it might be in the dozens.
Yeah.
And today he has just landed a commitment. I don't know if it's his first or not. Braden Bryant is an offensive lineman who played last year. Where, Jim? Was it North Dakota State?
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State offensive lineman has committed on social media to San Diego State. So Braden Bryant, the newest Aztec, Sean Lewis getting to work, just, hitting the ground running, right? It's cliche, but true. These last 8 days, there's been a ton going on around the program over the last 7 or 8 days.
So, should we buy tickets now for the Rose Bowl, you said?
I like that.
Rose Bowl or Orange Bowl, whatever.
I think next year those games are in the expanded postseason.
Yeah.
So just get your playoff tickets.
Playoff tickets. Get them right now.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to the wrap in a moment. First, let's get to Michael, who's been very patient. If you want to weigh in, Juan Soto, breaking news, he's been traded to the New York Yankees. Your reaction to it? Can the Padres salvage 2024 without Juan Soto or not? 844-570-1360. Michael, thank you for calling. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, Jon and Jim, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think Preller, he got 5 pitchers back. I wish he would have got a little offense, but I think he did the best he could in a tough time. We need another starting pitcher, and our only outfielder we got right now is Petit. I'd love for the Padres. I'd love for us to get Tommy Pham and Jock Peterson in center and left. That'd be great. And maybe trade Cronenworth and free up a little money there, or maybe he can learn to hit during the off season. That'd be beneficial too.
Michael, we appreciate it, man. Really appreciate your listenership. Listen, I saw some people on social media and on our text line saying, hey, the criticism of Jay Cronenworth is unfair. I completely disagree. He's regressed. They gave him good money. He didn't produce a year ago. I'm not saying he can't produce again, but he essentially has to produce at that dollar figure and playing that position. He's out of position, Jim. I mean, you and I know that. I'm preaching to the choir. Jay Cronenworth is not a first baseman. He's now in his 30s. He's not getting younger. He's never going to hit 35 home runs in the big leagues. He's never going to have a 900 OPS in the big leagues. So, I mean, they've reached the $80 million Cronenworth extension. In the moment, we didn't think much of it. He was, multi-time All-Star, but it's a reach, especially for a corner. He's playing out of position. Everyone realizes that.
Yeah, the 619 number says, no wonder players don't stick around here. Cronenworth is a great baseball player. We were all stoked to see him get a contract, and now people are giving him crap. He changed positions, and he's had an average 1.5 years. It's like Hosmer's last season as a Padre. The guy was hitting like Pete Rose, and nobody cared.
No.
That has to be a joke, right?
I don't think so. If you looked at Hosmer's sheer numbers from a batting average perspective, he wasn't hitting 150.
619 number. Let me fill you in on a little something here.
Okay.
All right. Opinions change. Things change all the time. When Cronenworth signed that deal, it was like, okay, maybe this is going to be a good thing. It was a random Tuesday night or something like that had happened, but it was like it wasn't viewed as it is viewed now, because guess what? Things change, and he didn't perform, and he's gotten worse every single year at the big league level.
Right. So like,
yeah. And it's not like exclusive to, this is why people don't stick around in San Diego. It'd be the same thing if he did it in Chicago or New York or Atlanta. If they gave him a contract like that and he underperformed, he would get criticized for it. He's not going to get a pass.
Eric Hosmer's final year in San Diego, he hit 272 with 8 home runs.
Just like Pete Rose.
Yeah, Pete Rose for his career,
when he was on suspension,
hit over 300, obviously. And Jay Cronenworth, here's the deal. This quote-unquote average last year and a half has not been average. He was sub 700 OPS as a first baseman last year, on base plus slugging in 127 games. He hit 10 home runs as a first baseman in the big leagues. Not good enough.
619 number says, I don't know about trading Jake Cronenworth for 2 reasons. 1, it was his first year at first. Let him settle in. 2, why did you give him a huge extension if you don't see him here long-term in the first place? Well, you gave him a huge extension because, 1, you hoped you could buy out those arbitration years, because if he actually was good, which is what everyone was hoping, then you have him on a perceived good deal. But the numbers are the numbers. And every year, you just read them, every year in the big leagues, he has gotten worse. And for a first baseman on this team, if he's going to play there,
and where else can he play? Because I don't want Cronenworth over Kim. You said I'm not
right
moving
now,
Kim to then create a position for Jay Cronenworth. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make me better.
In a perfect world, in a I guess what's the word I'm looking for? In a hindsight world,
okay,
you never sign Bogarts. Okay, that solves one huge problem with this team,
because then you've got Kim, you've got Cronenworth. There's your middle infield.
Yeah, and you don't have a $280 million contract to an aging baseball player that doesn't put up like big numbers.
And you just sign a first baseman.
Yeah. And
for $10 million a year.
And guess what? You still have Juan Soto.
Right. Yeah, because you just freed up $280 million.
You still have Juan Soto.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly have him for another year.
Yeah. So like I said multiple times, they made their bed. They chose, and they chose wrong. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of chose Aaron Judge over Juan Soto, and then they chose Trey Turner over Juan Soto, and then they chose Xander Bogaerts over Juan Soto, and that's where things got down the wrong path.
And Xander could have a huge bounce back year. You all hope he does.
Right.
But at this moment in time, until I actually see it happen, it's a bad contract. And I think Kevin Acee told us the other day, it's one of the worst contracts in baseball.
Yeah, find it at sportssd.com. There's no question about it. All right, coming up this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego. Annie Halbrin will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Right now, let's get to this.
What team will Juan Soto play for in 2025?
Turn your mic on, idiot. I'm gonna say the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees make this trade only viewing it as a 1-year deal, and it's the Yankees. They can spend some money. Like they're now in a situation where they're going back to spending money, and I would honestly be kind of shocked if he doesn't re-sign with the Yankees.
I think this is going to be where John Fisher really gets involved.
The A's, the Las Vegas A's.
I think that John Fisher's been waiting for this moment.
They give him ownership.
They give him a 1-year deal worth $11 million, and they pay him $1 million a year for 11 years. Didn't they do that with the Padres closer?
Trevor Rosenthal.
That was the dumbest deal in baseball history. It's the New York Yankees, and you're going to hear about the New York Mets, who will have additional payroll flexibility. That's a very popular term right now. It's the New York Yankees. The Yankees made this deal with one thought in mind, which is to have Juan Soto for his prime, not just age 25, but through age 35. I'd be shocked if Juan Soto is not a New York Yankee long term, and certainly I'd be shocked if he didn't sign his next deal. I don't know the length of the deal with the Yankees. That would shock me.
And I'm sure the Yankees thinking is, we want to build around. That's a crazy concept. We want to build around
Judge and
Soto.
Now, Judge ain't a pup anymore, right?
No, I think he's like
he's in his 30s. He's in his 30s at this point. He's got to be, right? He's 31. He will turn 32 April 26th.
Okay.
So I mean, he's in his prime.
Yeah.
But he's not a kid.
So a 31-year-old and a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Judge just could hit like this for another 5-6 years.
Padres chose otherwise.
Yeah. They could have had Judge. No, they actually couldn't have. They tried to get Judge.
They tried, but Judge wasn't leaving the Yankees.
They would have traded him.
Yeah.
Back to the Yankees, potentially. Next question.
Probably.
What's the next move you want to see AJ Preller make?
Ooh.
A bat. Like
a bat.
I don't know who. I don't have this overwhelming confidence in a Jung-Hoo Lee, honestly, because he's unproven. Like, you're just going to get a bunch of unproven guys for next season? That doesn't really have much confidence in this team.
Unproven. Did you see his Kai Boom Heroes numbers?
Okay, cool. Great.
I personally,
Kai Boom.
I personally am a proponent of Jung-Hoo Lee on a multi-year deal like Kim, because I actually think it's a long-term value. I'm not saying it's a 2024 win, but if it played out anything comparably to Ha-Seong Kim, it would be a win. Here's the one thing I would say about Jung-Hoo Lee. He was hurt last year, hit 6 home runs, and he played 86 games. He was hurt last year, played 86 games, hit 6 home runs. I mean, you're going to need a little bit of power to play outfield every day in the big leagues. And the year before it, Jim, he hit 23 home runs in 142 games. So I'm like, this is not some prototypical power bat.
Yeah, and they are in desperate need of a left-handed bat now because they don't have one.
Now, he would fill that.
He would, but he's not that power left-handed bat that they need.
He's not a power bat, no.
The only power left-handed bat on the market is Cody Bellinger, and you're not giving him a contract for $250 million.
No way.
There's not. So I'm like, who else is out there that's a power left-handed bat? I can't think of any.
Trade.
There's trades. Rhys Hoskins is definitely interesting, but he's not left-handed bat. And he would definitely upgrade at first base.
No doubt.
Tomorrow.
Instantaneously.
Instantly. But then you have the problem, and this is probably going to be a talking point next year, is unless they do something about it, they are way too right-handed heavy. Way too right-handed.
They'll have to address it. They'll have to address it this offseason.
Well, they did, but they actually gave away their both left-handed bats.
There's still time. It's December 7th. I say Jung-Hoo Lee. I'd be moderately happy.
I'm going to say, just give me a bat.
Next question.
Power left-handed bat.
Who's going to win the NBA in-season tournament?
Oh, glad you asked. What's the score here? Bucks Pacers? It's like tied up roughly.
Yeah.
Close game.
Pacers
Entering the
by
fourth
1.
quarter. How about Tyrese Halliburton, Jim?
He's amazing. The worst
20 points, 13 assists.
The NBA is rooting so hard for a Lakers-Bucks finals in the in-season tournament. You know they are.
Probably.
At least the Lakers part.
I think Lakers-Bucks with Giannis and Dame,
yeah, definitely.
LeBron,
absolutely,
like
stars everywhere.
Halliburton's a great player, but he's not a known star.
Can I ask a question right now?
What?
Who are the Lakers playing?
The Pelicans.
Oh, that's right. Oh, by the way, you can hear it tonight at 6 p.m. I know
Yeah.
that's been your update.
I just been saying it every update.
Yeah.
If it's the Pelicans and the not the
Pacers.
the Pacers, the NBA is like, oh crap.
Tyrese Halliburton.
I know he's a great player. I love Tyrese Halliburton.
You should start a YouTube channel
I'll go with the Lakers
on Tyrese.
They're undefeated in the.
Do you think the Lakers are going to win it?
Yeah.
I'll say Bucks.
And how
Now, I don't know if the Bucks are going to win tonight, but I think the Bucks are the best team, one of the best teams in the NBA, and the best of the 4 in this in-season tournament. So I'm going to say Milwaukee.
how does this affect LeBron's legacy?
If he wins it positively, if he
His Hall of
loses it,
Fame
he might not make the Hall of
doubt.
Fame.
Yeah.
Wow, I agree with that.
I know one thing: LeBron's gone further in this tournament than Steph ever has.
Oh,
You know, Michael Jordan never lost an NBA in-season tournament.
True, but he's never won one.
That's semantics.
Next question.
What will the Padres payroll be like in 2024?
I think it's going to be under 200 million.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 188 million.
188.0.
Whatever.
I'll take over.
Okay.
But I'm with you. I think under 200. I say more than 188. Right now, according to Kevin, when we had him on yesterday with this trade, they're under 150.
Yeah.
So if you think 188, that still means they have 40 to work with.
Yeah.
From under 150 to 188 is 40.
Yeah.
If they go to 200, they have 50 to work with. So I think we all kind of agree that they're probably in the neighborhood of 40 to 50.
Yeah. And it's
on the
still
other side of the
and it's
trade.
still a top 10 payroll. The problem is that money is just allocated horribly.
In just a few players.
Just horribly. You should easily. I think that Braves had like around a $200 million payroll last year.
Okay, so let's look at that. If they actually get to 188, to your point, anything under 200 would be 11th. Okay, so the top 10 teams last year were over 200. So if they go under 200, this is based on last year, they would drop to 11th. Again, top half of baseball, but not top 10%.
Yeah,
like they were. So the Braves last year were at 206, 10th in baseball.
Okay. So if you're smart and you have a GM that knows how to build a roster and for tricks players into signing just these
8-year, $80 million deals.
Yeah,
like they're going to get Ohtani on like a 9-year, 99.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, he did it. So all the credit in the world to
whoever the GM
Alex
is.
Anthopoulos.
Yeah,
Anthopoulos. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah. Weird last name.
Yeah. Credit to him. But I mean, that's the type of organization that you want to see the Padres. That's like the gold standard to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. Is you want to see an organization run as well as the Braves. If for your favorite team, the Padres aren't even close to that. Like to me, they're the polar opposite. Like Preller does not run this organization how it should be with the money that he's been given, and he's screwed it all up. And so now, because he screwed it up, he has to backtrack on all these moves to try and fix it all.
Such a weird roster to have all these huge, long contracts, yet you're trying to get spending under control. But you've tied up money, not just for 2024, you've tied up money for 2030.
And if you have a payroll of like, say, 195 million,
mm-hmm.
I still think there's going to be holes in this roster.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I still think there's going to be big holes in this roster.
Because the Bogarts, Machado, Tatis, Musgrove component right there.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it, but it's over 100.
It's
those
20,
4.
26, 30, 30, and 20.
106?
There you
106.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you are at 195, 106 and 195, 55% in 4 players. You have 22 other players on your team.
That's the problem is.
And this isn't the NFL where, okay, quarterback, I get it. Yeah, give Mahomes whatever it's worth. That makes sense, but it's not the NFL.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
It's Bogarts, and to a lesser extent, that Manny extension. That kind of is just like,
they just need bounce back. I listen, I don't even care about 2030 when they're both under contract. I mean, we will care in the future, but all they need to do right now, easier said than done, is have good 2024s. Unfortunately, Machado off an elbow, Bogarts off a down year.
Yeah.
But that's what they need.
If you told me that next year, Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Xander Bogaerts and Joe Musgrove, they're 4 highest paid players on AAV.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me those four guys for you next year are all-stars, I'd be like,
yeah,
I feel pretty damn good.
Yeah, they should be.
But that's
based on what you're paying them.
Right.
But you're right.
You know nothing else. You don't know any rest of the roster, nothing. You just tell me, hey, those 4 guys, your highest priced players
are all-stars?
Are all-stars.
I'm thinking postseason, right?
I'm
4 all-stars with those players?
I'm thinking at minimum 86 wins. That probably gets you in the postseason.
Yeah,
like,
84 got you in this year.
So you tell me that with not knowing any of the roster, rest of who's on the team, how they do, whatever perform, I would bet that they're a postseason team.
On the other side, a couple things. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego, their Christmas celebration. We'll give that away later this hour. Annie Halpern will join us at 5. The tables have turned from the national media on the San Diego Padres.
There's a couple things here, one by Tom Verducci and one from
Kevin Franzen,
former baseball player Kevin Franzen on Sirius XM radio that I was like, I lost my mind.
All right, former Lehigh Valley Iron Pig as well, Kevin Franzen. You'll hear from him on the other side. We'll react to Tom Verducci's writing as well on SI.com. Plus, coming up this hour, your chance to win that 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. Stay with us. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you for months about our friends over at Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer, family owned. Trevor and his family, they've been in the grocery business for over 20 years. They've been supporting San Diego businesses all that time. Harris Ranch, Mr. G's Salsa, and more. This is the perfect spot for an affordable lunch. Go over to their deli, get a sandwich card. Your 8th sandwich is free. They have an incredible selection of sandwiches. They really do. It's incredible. Whatever your tastes are, they have the highest quality ingredients, freshest ingredients, and they pride themselves on keeping their prices incredibly low as well. So if you're looking for lunch during your work week, go over to Windmill Farms. If you're getting ready for your weekends, your game day needs, what if you're watching on TV? Maybe you're tailgating. Windmill Farms has you covered. Organic farm fresh produce and meats. Amazing craft beer, kombucha selection. It's incredible over there. They've got the deli we've told you about. They're centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard, right across from Montezuma Mesa. Family owned for 20 plus years. You don't have to live or work near Del Cerro in the college area. We've told you that because you can find Windmill Farms on Instacart. Have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. It could not be easier. You can also see their weekly specials at windmillfarmsmarket.com. So you should jot that down, save it in a browser, windmillfarmsmarket.com. It's your spot during your work week for lunch, getting ready for your weekends as well. Shop local, shop at Windmill Farms.
All right, this update. Does that sound good? That sounds great. Keep it on. Keep it on. There you go. Double audio, triple audio, everything. Bro, come on. This update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres, Yankees, the trade official last night. Juan Soto, Trent Grisham to the Yankees for Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Kyle Higgy, backup catcher. I'll never be able to say his name right ever. So there you go.
Halliburton
is awesome. And the NBA in-season tournament semifinal is underway right now. Game 1 of a doubleheader. 3:26 left in the fourth quarter. The Pacers are clinging to a 3-point lead, 113-110 over the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 2 tonight, Lakers and Pelicans. Winner will face the winner of the Pacers and Bucks game. You can listen to that game right here at 6 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Annie Halpern, San Diego Union Tribune. Her reactions to the Juan Soto trade at 5 p.m. Your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration in less than 15 minutes. Tom Verducci, I'll let Jim take this away. Jim was very bothered last night for a number of reasons. We haven't even talked about this. Jim went to social media, and there was one tweet that the way you worded it, people literally lost their mind.
I said, if you're excited tonight about Michael King and prospects, I don't know what to tell you. LOL. The Padres just traded a top 10 player in the sport tonight. You can't spin that.
People lost their mind, Brent. I mean, not everyone. Some people completely agreed, and other people wanted to like ruin Jim's life.
It has 60,000 impressions. Like it's been viewed, I guess, 60,000 times. And I guess I got a little ratioed. 210 replies to that and 92.
How many likes?
Or 19 quote tweets.
How many likes?
663.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not like man, fully ratioed.
If you go to Twitter and search term at Jim Russell SD, I was cracking up last night at like midnight. There were people like they were coming at you, but you didn't seem overly phased. But anyway, the point is last night you were all hot and bothered. Juan Soto gets traded. Tom Verducci's writing things about the Padres' future. People are coming after you on social media. What did Tom Verducci say that had you willing to like, you were losing your mind?
Well, I see this article from Sports Illustrated. It might not even been Tom Verducci. It might have been an AI Tom Verducci.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated isn't even like around.
But the headline caught my attention.
Okay.
And then when I saw it was written by Tom Verducci, I was like, okay. The headline says, with Juan Soto on his way out the door, the Padres era of great expectations is about to be over. Hold up.
Okay.
That's my first problem. Great expectations. So a team with Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., Joe Musgrove, Ha-Seong Kim, Yu Darvish. Say what you want about the players, like they need to perform better.
Right.
But
what about what you said? Like you can't spin this. So he's saying like you can't trade Juan Soto and say that you still have great expectations. You can't spin trading Juan Soto.
No, you can't.
Right.
You can't.
Okay.
But in the article, okay. It just irked me.
Okay.
When he is essentially saying, let me see if I can find it. He's essentially saying that because now Peter Sidler has passed away, that means the Padres don't matter anymore. Like
that's the premise of the article.
Like, oh, they're back to
being the little old Padres.
Back to the little old Padres. They were at the big boy table for a little while, but now that their owner,
they're in their rightful place.
Yeah, they're in their rightful little place.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that.
That's the gist of what Tom Verducci wrote, and it bothered me.
Okay,
because that's BS,
fair.
Dude.
Right. Now, I would say that speaks to what I've said a little bit, like this fear of the unknown. We kind of don't know the future of the Padres because they're not even speaking on it. We know the payroll's coming down, but yeah, I don't like that angle. Like this era of freewheeling Padres is completely over forever, and now they're going to return to like market 27 and payroll 27. Like I don't think we don't know that.
No.
Okay, so you were mad about that.
Yeah, and the line here that I'm like, whoa. Under late owner Peter Sidler, San Diego spent with the big boys to try to win its first World Series title. That never was meant to last.
It never was meant to last?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it.
This is the problem, and we'll talk about it now. Kevin Franson, MLB Network Radio. There's like this birthright. A lot of people that work in this game or follow the game are like, there's only 6 franchises that matter. You know what I mean? It's the idea that it's Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Giants, Dodgers, right? You get it. There's 5 or 6 that matter. Everyone else is just kind of on the periphery. But those 5, 6, 7 have to matter because we're not here to see the Pirates or the Royals or the Padres. Like that's the premise. It's unlike the NFL. Nobody's like, how can the Bengals be good in Cincinnati? Nobody talks about that in the NFL.
No one's saying, how does Shohei Ohtani look on the Orioles roster?
Right. And nobody's like, oh, the Indiana Pacers don't deserve to be in the in-season tournament championship. They're in Indiana.
Yeah. Like, we all know the NBA probably wants the Lakers and Bucks because they'd be the best ratings, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could still win in small markets.
Yeah. And the fact that baseball, like these writers, they're pushing so hard. Like, all we saw at the winter meetings was how Shohei Ohtani would look on the Dodgers.
Yep.
Right? Like, he needs to go to the Dodgers. Does he need to go to the Dodgers? Like, screw that, dude.
Again, it fits. It checks the box of keeping the status quo intact, which serves a lot of people.
Because baseball is so horrible at making every single team matter, that they have to push so hard for the teams that do matter to get all the star players because they can't figure out a way to make the Royals of the world and the Pirates and the Marlins. And you get my point.
Yeah.
All these teams in baseball to be given an actual fair shot like everybody else.
To further that point, Kevin Franson, former big leaguer, longtime broadcaster, he's still a young guy. I think he's probably in his 40s, maybe even his 30s. He was on MLB Network Radio talking about Juan Soto to the Yankees.
Isn't it nice the Yankees acting like the Yankees again? Honestly,
Yeah.
This move right here was nice. This is like there's certain places that you picture Juan Soto, right? Like San Diego wasn't one of them. In all honesty, like the trade happened with the Nationals, and that look, I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I understand. I'm just saying, like, the visual of it, right? Like, you're thinking about it, you're like, Juan Soto as a New York Yankee makes sense. It looks good. 22 is available. 22 is not hung
Did
up.
they hold 22 out for him? Was that the
No. Harrison Bader had it.
Okay, so kind of point proven there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you got people in the national media. No. He didn't look good in San Diego. He looks better in the Yankees uniform because it's the Yankees. Like, what?
Yeah,
That's such a stupid mindset to have in a sport. So stupid. Because, like, I'll just use this as an example. Nothing against the Bucks, Brent. Milwaukee, right? Do people say, "Oh man, I wish Giannis was in like L.A. or New York"?
Yes,
I know they did.
A lot of people,
but at the same
to
time,
his credit, he avoided those overtures because a lot of these players do go to the markets.
They do. Like, but my point is, he's there, and I think no one's bitching about it.
No, not at this point. Shoot, Dame joined him. I mean, it's a great franchise. Obviously, what they've done is incredible.
So the fact that you get the national media bitching about, well, not just like fit, whatever. He just looks better. He just looks good in a Yankees uniform because the Yankees actually matter and the Padres don't. Screw you, dude.
No, you're right. Because if the NBA was Major League Baseball, if the NFL was Major League Baseball, those sports wouldn't be as well positioned. If Major League Baseball was the NBA, you wouldn't see Giannis in Milwaukee and you wouldn't see Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
No.
It would be all positioned for the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. You know my point. And the Pittsburgh Steelers. But to their credit, that balance, that parity has really worked well. Maybe there's not as much parity in the NBA, but the star power stuff has worked. Major League Baseball, and we've talked about this throughout the course of today's show, it's just stacked against the quote-unquote little guys. And even when you push your way through, like the Padres have under Peter Sidler the last 4 or 5 years, people question it.
Yeah.
Why would they spend when they're not supposed to spend like that?
Yeah, nobody's talking about if the Yankees spend $300 million on the payroll. Why are the Yankees spending that much money?
Right. It's like, Padres, get back in your place.
Yeah.
Go back in that corner.
Yeah, screw you guys.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm
hate
with
it.
you. It's stupid. It just irked me. Like, I have, trust me, I have many problems with AJ Preller.
You do?
As a GM. But I hate the notion that the Padres have to be put in their little place and they can't go out and spend the money. And Juan Soto didn't look good in a Padres uniform. He looked better in a Yankees uniform because the Yankees are a bigger market. Blah, 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 blah. Your sport is stupid if you have people saying that.
This is the first I'm hearing of your critique or criticism of the Padres general manager. We'll need to hear more about that coming up. All right, on the other side, a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. Let's play sports trivia, Trainwreck Radio. Call right now because the first 2 callers will be our contestants for a great holiday giveaway, a free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. Call 844-570-1360 right now. Again, 844-570-1360 right now. First 2 callers will be contestants. Great giveaway for the holidays. 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. We'll give those away next. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. We've been telling you about how expensive San Diego is. We all know it. It's one of the most expensive cities in the country. And with the year almost over, you might need cash for the holidays. You might want to be credit card debt free for the new year. You can call Loan Pronto today because their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20, $50, even $100,000 in as little as 5 days. You've got a ton of equity in your home. Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, and you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off credit cards, pay off personal loans, start a home improvement project, add solar panels. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact so that 3% rate you have is protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. You can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the year ends. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the new year by calling Loan Pronto today. Here's the number, 619-207-4336, 619-207-4336, or visit loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. All right, Annie Halbrin will join us coming up at.
Why don't you keep your computer as loud as possible when we're doing the show? Just like make sure that the volume is blasting.
Okay, a couple things. Annie Halbrin will join us at 5. We'll get to Trainwreck Radio in a moment. The Indiana Pacers have advanced to the NBA in-season tournament championship game.
Is this the worst loss in Bucks history, Brent?
It's not a good loss. This is not a good loss.
They overcame a blown 12-point lead, and they're reaching the finals.
Lakers Pelicans is tonight, 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760.
My God, I want a Pelicans Pacers in-season tournament final so bad.
You might get it.
This was Grand Canyon. This is the Pacers championship.
This is the Pacers championship.
Interesting analogy.
But the Pacers are pretty good. I don't think this is one of those teams that's like, I don't know if they're going to go to the NBA finals, but Tyrese Halliburton is legit. Dude is legit.
I know. You've been talking about him like all week.
I know. I mentioned his name.
How come you haven't mentioned Benedict Mathurin and Obi Toppin, the rest of that roster that's all the way into the championship game of the in-season tournament?
Tyrese Halliburton had 27, 15, and 7 tonight.
That's
today.
Terrific. Let's play.
Terrific.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Greg and Charlie. Greg, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I choose Jim.
You choose Jim. That's now that's by your own choice. Nobody's forcing you to do that, right?
No one.
Okay.
All right. So Charlie, you get John. All right.
That's great.
All right, Brent. What's the question today?
All right, today's question: the NBA in-season tournament semifinals are underway. Officially, the first one is over. Today's question: can you name the 9 teams that averaged 120 or more points in group play in the in-season tournament?
Simple.
Whoa, that's easy.
So
group play stats?
Yep, there was
group play.
9 teams that averaged at least 120 or more points a game in group play. Name them.
Simple.
Right. Simple. So just basically give us an NBA basketball team.
Well, 9 out of what? 30?
Yeah. Good chances.
30%.
Charlie, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Let's go with the guys that are going to the finals. Pacers.
The Pacers.
The high-scoring Pacers. Are they on the list?
On the
they
list. Boom.
What a group stage it was for them.
It really was. I'll remember it forever. Greg, you're up next. What is your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Let's try the Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
The Pels. Are they on the list? No, they've done it with defense.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout group play.
Defense and grit, baby.
Right.
Charlie, you're up next. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
The 3-point Kings, the Golden State Warriors.
The Golden State
Dubs
Warriors.
on the list.
They got eliminated. And they still scored a bunch of points.
It'll be part of Steph's legacy.
They don't play defense.
Bunch of losers. Who's up? Greg? Greg, you're up next. What is your second guess?
Needs this.
You need to stay in the
alive.
game. So you do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I want to try the Bucks.
The Bucks. I like that. Yeah.
All right.
On the list.
On the list.
Charlie could walk it off here with the correct answer. He also has a lifeline.
He
So
sure does.
what are you going to do, Charlie?
Please tell me Sacramento's up there.
Kings,
The
for,
Kings
the
for the win.
On the list. Wow.
Wow.
I was playing with Charlie, right?
Yeah.
Team John won. Congratulations.
So am I an idiot?
Yes.
Okay.
You're an idiot. What would you have said? Like the
I would have gone the Kings, yeah.
I would have said like the Grizzlies.
No, I would not have. I would not have said them. I would have gone like the Kings or
How about
The
Lakers?
Supersonics.
maybe the Lakers. I would have gone Lakers, yeah.
Yeah, Sonics could have been on there. Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, who else is on this list?
All right, we got Pacers, Hawks, Sixers, Bucks, the Lakers, Suns, Mavs, Warriors, and Kings.
So like the good teams, kind
Yeah,
of like
pretty
teams that
much,
score
yeah.
a lot of points,
Yeah.
scored a lot of points in group play as well. All right, congratulations to Charlie and Team John. You've won a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. Where the wonders of the sea meet the joy of Christmas at SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. From underwater discoveries to San Diego's largest Christmas tree, the Sky Tower Tree of Lights. Experience thrilling rides to Mrs. Claus's Christmas parade, real reindeer, and photos of Santa. Taste heartwarming traditions and sing along to a stocking full of soul featuring America's Got Talent finalist Brian Cheatham. It's a holiday celebration filled with wondrous moments only at SeaWorld San Diego through January 7th. Annie Halbrin from the UT will join us on the other side. Her reaction to Juan Soto's trade to the New York Yankees. What is next for the Padres on the other side of this blockbuster deal? Annie Halpern from the UT will join us to kick off hour number 3 of Jon and Jim. That's next.
All right, this update's brought to you by DraftKings. Game 1 of a doubleheader for the in-season tournament semifinals. Pacers beat the Bucks. They now move on to the finals to take on the winner of the Lakers and Pelicans game. That game will tip off at 6 p.m. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. And you know it by now, the Padres trading Juan Soto and Trent Grisham to the Yankees for Michael King, Drew Thorpe, other prospects, Brito, Vasquez, and a catcher. Backup catcher, Higgy. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's the final hour of Jon and Jim. We're with you until 6 p.m. We continue to react to Juan Soto being dealt to the New York Yankees to conclude the 2023 winter meetings. It is always great to get the perspective of Annie Halbrin, San Diego Union Tribune, San Diego Sports Association. Back with us, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I just said the word San Diego like 100 times.
You always do.
I do. Annie. How's San Diego treating? No, I'm kidding. What's your initial? Thank you for doing this as always. What's your reaction here? Juan Soto being traded and what the Padres receive back. And thank you for hopping on,
guys. It's always great to be on with you in good old San Diego.
Yes.
Appreciate you both. Yeah, I felt like this was the sort of thing that I thought. Kevin wrote an article that was really good this morning in terms of it kind of being a mess of their own making. And I really feel like that's kind of what they got themselves into. You know, this is something where you don't want to trade Juan Soto. You don't want to send him to another team. And there was so much talk about the big four, and Soto is a big part of the big four. And, you know, because they did that, I mean, it kind of just shows, and you rarely hear, I don't think I've ever really heard AJ Preller say the word budget, you know, but he said it last night, and it was kind of like the new reality. And this was going to be the reality, whether Peter Sidler, you know, had it passed, and, you know, which unfortunately he did, but this was going to be the reality regardless, because it's almost like, you were speeding in a great sports car. You know, I think you guys might have used that analogy or something, but speeding and at some point, like, you know, you got to pull over, you got to get gas, you got to figure out how to maintain the car, you got to do all the things that make it so that you're not just kind of on this, you know, this ride, you know. And so I kind of think that they're just at this place where it's like, you know, you've got everything's kind of caught up. You've got the need to drop your payroll. You need to fill out your roster, which is not a complete roster. You need to try to figure out a way to work that farm system into actual depth on the baseball field, you know, during a season. And then you also don't have the TV deal and things like that they saw coming. But you gave out all these contracts that have no trade clauses and that have many years attached to them, and you just don't have a lot of wiggle room. So yes, they created some wiggle room and they can, you know, fill out this roster better, but they probably, you know, shouldn't have been in that position where it was such a need like it was in the Soto trade.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me. Excuse me. It's always interesting to me how, you know, you get yourself into a position and then you have to get yourself out of a position. Then you get praised for that. It's like, wait, hold on. You just created a problem that you now have to get yourself out of. Like, I don't understand it, but we are where we are. Preller's not going anywhere. So going forward here, Annie, do you believe that the money that they, I guess, freed up here is going to be allocated properly to build out a cohesive roster?
That is a great question. I think that they're going to have to do that in some respect. I mean, they have obvious holes that they have to fill, but the market is high right now, right? Like the cost of pitching is pretty high, but you're going to have to figure that out. And I do think that, you know, you can be lured, I guess, a little bit by some of these, you know, bigger name signings that I can't imagine. That's a good question. I feel like would I be surprised if he makes a big splash? No, but then what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to fill out some of these other needs? How much of a difference can this farm system make immediately? How much can that you make by opening day or within the first few months of the season? So there's going to be an ability for those guys to earn spots, right? At least some of them. But in terms of Lee, of kind of going after some signings that are going to cost them a little bit more money, I can't totally count AJ out for that either. But it's going to be a little trickier now, that's for sure.
No question about it. Annie Hobburn with us, Union Tribune, San Diego Sports Association, Jon and Jim. As we look back, Annie, I mean, put yourself back in your shoes a year and a half ago, less than that. They trade for Juan Soto. AJ Preller's quoted as saying that day, we make the trade because of this idea that it's not 1 or 2 pennant runs, it's actually 3. Yet they move him before even that third season starts. What happened? Was it miscalculation? Things have changed. I mean, how do you kind of rectify what was said however many months ago, 15, 16 months ago, to what's transpired?
I think it was a perfect storm. I think that they were in the midst of kind of a heyday where sometimes you're in the middle of that and you don't really see, I guess, the perspective sometimes that you might need to see. But to me, it was kind of like they pushed some deals across the finish line that probably didn't need to happen at the time. And you know how it is when you sometimes you could take Christmas spending this month. You're like, I'll deal with that later. I'm going to buy this. I'll deal with that later. To me, it's kind of like at some point you got to pay the piper. You're never going to erase these things. You can kind of push them off, which is what I think they were doing in pursuit of a championship. And this was their strategy for doing that. And it didn't work out. But even if they had won the World Series, I know obviously they would get a lot of money from being in the playoffs and the World Series, but I don't know how different it would have made things in terms of their longer term view. Like, I love San Diego. We're talking about San Diego. I love it, but they're capped out. They're capped out on their season tickets, right? And that, that obviously is bringing some money in. But this isn't a Fortune 500 place. This isn't a place with a ton of TV money coming in, like you would say have a New York or a Dodgers. And I'm not saying that you should accept the small market role, because thankfully this team hasn't. And the payroll of being around 200 million is still high. I don't know if that might have to drop at some point. I really don't know. But that's still a good competitive payroll. But at the same time, there's a reality of the city you're in, the market you're in, that it's not those other places. And, you might not be able to operate in such a fashion. So you have to be creative, right? You have to find ways to fill out the roster. You have to find ways to get guys that are more controllable, and they're in a position now where they're forced to do that, and that's not really where you want to be. You want to be in a position where that's part of your moves. It's a very calculated part of your strategy. You know what I'm saying? And so they kind of have to reckon with that, and maybe this helps them build something going forward that does allow for, a percentage of the big name superstars and the guys that you really feel strongly about that you're going to give a boatload of money to, but then a percentage of, the competitive, kind of scrappy, mobile, younger guys, or guys that are fighting back from injuries or things like that. And AJ does do well at that when he's able to take on some guys and get him for the year or two, and hopefully they can have a resurgence in San Diego. But they're kind of in a position now where they're core to that versus that being part of the strategy to begin with.
Yeah, the magic word that everyone never thought that you'd hear from Preller is budget, and now it's feels like this team is under a mandate to have a budget going forward, and whatever they do, Annie, going forward with the trade and potential trades here or signings, and this team they currently have right now. How does this team, as it's currently constructed, we obviously don't know the moves that Preller is going to be making under this new budget that he is under. How does this team make the playoffs next year with the roster they have now?
It's going to be harder. It's going to be harder with the Diamondbacks, with the Dodgers. I don't totally count the Giants out. It's going to be harder. Like they're going to need to find some, and Preller was able to do that last year with guys like Lugo, and maybe they're able to take some of the money that they're saving with Soto and re-sign maybe Lugo or someone like that. you have to find another one of those. He's going to command a good deal of money, and that's another thing is a lot of these guys that walked in free agency, they're gonna be competed for. There's going to be other teams that are able to give them maybe longer term deals, more lucrative term deals. So it's going to be harder to get those kind of guys. But so you got to find a different guy like that, right? And you've got to develop the farm system to where you're really more confident in the ability for some of these guys to contribute when they do come up to the major league level. But they're going to have their work cut out for them. I don't think that they're out of it by any means. You still have guys on the roster. You have your Tatistas, your Machados. You're hopefully going to have some guys that are not part of that big three now who are going to contribute, because that was a problem last year too. But you really need the guys that are Tatis, Machado, and Bogarts. Like, you need them to step up. Like, you need them to have better years than last year. You need Kim to continue doing what he's doing, and Cronenworth, who knows if he's going to be traded or not. But then that back end lineup, you've got to have them. You got to find some diamonds in the rough there. So you need a few things to turn your way, I guess, in terms of finding some of these players. But there's other teams that need all this too. So you're going to be competing with that, and that is a strength of AJ's, to be able to find some of these guys, and he's not going to be able to. He's going to have to get creative, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that could work out well for him, and he's going to do something where he excels in that position and find some guys that maybe other teams overlook. But you're going to have to get some luck there too. Some guys that you maybe take chances on, and then you're going to have a team that just vibes better, right? And maybe this will allow them to vibe better. They just did not have the vibe last year, and. So new manager, new everything. It's going to be tough starting the season in Korea. You can't prove me it won't. I think, as much of a fun trip and a cool trip as that's going to be, that's a long way. And I think it's 10 days, I think, that they're there or something like that. So that's going to take a little bit of a toll at the beginning, just kind of like the WBC probably did. But you got to get a team that believes in each other early. So that when they do hit that adversity, they're hopefully able to get past it, like, that they weren't able to last year, and, continue kind of strengthening instead of, I guess, kind of coming apart.
Seems easy.
Yeah, it's simple. But it's a really good point on Korea, though. It's so weird to play March 20th when everyone else is opening up like 8 days later. And between your games in Korea and the quote-unquote regular season start or opening day, you play exhibition games. It's going to be somewhat bizarre. Annie, final one from me. Is Mike Schill. You just mentioned they have a new manager. I mean, what was your reaction to the choice that AJ Preller and this organization made, and what's going to be different here with Mike Schill leading the way and not Bob Melvin?
Another good question, because we're going to have to find out. I mean, in a lot of ways, they're similar in the sense that they have been around the game a long time. They baseball lifers. I guess you could use the term old school, but I think both of them are pretty good about being open to the new school stuff as well. But Mike's very Bob had been managing, I don't know what that was, like, I think 19 seasons. Mike was a manager, I think it was 4 seasons or something like that, and then he left. He got fired from the Cardinals, and then he's wanted this manager job ever since. So you just have a different situation where I wouldn't say that he's, trying harder or anything like that than Bob, because I didn't think that there was any issue there. But I think that you're going to have someone like anyone in that position. When you get it again, you really, take to heart things that maybe didn't work the first time. You really kind of want to, for lack of a better word, prove yourself around, that second time around. Now that could also backfire if you're doing too much, you know what I'm saying? So he's going to have to find that balance. But seeing that he's watched everything go on the last 2 years, and he's seen, how this front office works with the manager and things like that. Like, I think he's going to have a big head start into just kind of how the relationship is and how they can work together. And then I also just think that the players know him, but he's certainly going to, it's not going to be easy just because the players know him. Like, some players are so different. There's some players who are like, they love the fatherly thing. They love you checking in on their kids and how's so-and-so doing. And then there's other players who do not want to be talked to about any of that. And they're there. They want to play their game. They want to leave. They don't want the kumbaya. And so it's just very different. And I think Mike absolutely knows that. And he's been around the players enough to know, what kind of player, each person is. But there's always a learning curve there too. And just kind of the how a team flows, how much does this guy need? How much do I leave this guy alone? How much, because, it's really easy to kind of do all that when you're not the manager. You kind of get to touch, your touch points are a lot different, but when you're the manager, it's just a different seat. The roles change and everything kind of shifts. So there's going to be some learning there, but Mike's got a great attitude. He cares about the guys a lot. I think he really wants them to be happy and doing what their strengths are, but at the same time, he wants everyone to be held accountable. So I think he learned a lot from the Cardinal job, and I think that he's going to really approach this one as absolutely best as he can.
Yeah, as well said. I mean, it's a big task. Obviously, the changes in this roster, the lowered payroll, the questions moving forward following the untimely passing, obviously, of Peter Sidler. So it's going to be a really fascinating next few months for the Padres. Annie, we always appreciate your perspective and your time. Annie Halpern with the UT, San Diego Sports Association. Annie, thank you for doing it, as always.
Always appreciate being on with you guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful night in San Diego.
Oh, yes, San Diego.
Yes, San Diego.
I was going to say happy holidays. Can I say that now, December 7th, Jim? I mean, at
happy
what point?
Holiday. You can say it all December.
Thank you, Annie. I said it like November 28th, and Jim literally nearly killed me.
He's like,
I'm all good with that.
Yeah, the second Thanksgiving, and he goes, "Merry Christmas." I'm like,
yeah.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. I just said it. I had nothing else to say.
I know.
Thanks,
Annie.
Happy holidays, Jim. Come on.
I'm the Grinch.
You should see my text to Annie. Every time I text Annie, I'm like, "Are you willing to come on with me and Jim?" And I put in parentheses, "Sorry."
You're the mean one, Mr. Grinch.
He always says sorry, and I'm like, "Oh, Jim." I'm like, "I'll come on with you, John, and I guess Jim."
Any
No,
chance
Jim,
you
it's
could
all love.
join me? Yeah, and Jim, I'm showing Jim the text, and then in parentheses, "I'm sorry."
Oh,
Three. Annie, thanks. Happy
Annie.
holidays.
Hey, you guys duke it out. All right, good to talk to you.
Bye. Oh man, if you only...
did you tell all of our guests that? Like,
no. Annie, we have a good relationship.
My co-host is
no, I don't do that with everyone. I'm trying to think who else I would do that with. No one really.
Darnay.
Probably Darnay. Yes. Thank you.
Well, we just tell Darnay to come on. We don't. It's like, but Darnay, we have sports raps, so
yeah, we do.
Sort of like pre-planned, like already. We don't have to ask him. It's already planned.
Would you like to explain the fact that you can't speak?
Yeah, I don't want to explain it because I don't know what to say. I can't talk right now.
Right.
It's great for radio.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. You're going to hear something that you never expected to hear that was said on CNBC earlier today about sports betting and its impact coming up at 5:30. We have Jim's back page for you as well. As you know, the trade's official. Now it's what's next. Is Cronenworth on the move? Or where are they turning for outfield help? Is it going to be via trade? Are they looking at free agency? What does this rotation look like? I mean, there are, to Jim's point, and you've made it repeatedly over the last couple of days, there's so many questions. More now on the other side of this Juan Soto trade. It feels like you literally have like half-cooked meal. I mean, you literally have 50% of your team. Not more than that, maybe less, to be honest. You have like half of your team for next year. You didn't have near the question marks, obviously, coming off the NLCS. You disappoint last year, the Padres doing now. I don't even know how many big league spots are taken right now. Is it half? It's probably something in the neighborhood of half of the spots are accounted for. Now, this trade, you could say, okay, yeah, you're slotting in King, Brito, Vasquez, Higashioka. Okay, that's 4 of your 26. All right, they've addressed some things, but it feels like they have more questions now than they had, even though they've addressed some of the roster with this trade.
You basically today have more issues with your team than you did yesterday, like roster wise,
right?
Not
like that.
not flexibility wise or payroll wise, right? Like roster wise, actual players that are going to be wearing Padres uniforms next year.
Mm-hmm.
You have more question marks today after the Juan Soto trade than you did before the Juan Soto trade.
Yeah, I just have a blank canvas, which creates questions. I mean, obviously they're going to figure this thing out. Like I'm looking because it was Jeff Sanders who wrote about it. Like there's just some guys you're like, what? Like Tucupita Marcano and Jose Azocar. I mean, are these guys really going to be on the big league roster to start next year? Maybe the answer is yes. but you can't win. I mean, you got to win at a high level here. You're playing the Dodgers and the Giants and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
We're in the World Series. And you got your manager, Mike Schultz, saying first order of business is we need to win the division. What? Win the division? You won 82 games last year and just traded Juan Soto. Let's take baby steps here first.
And just a heads up here. If I'm looking at the free agents, okay, that are out there, as far as pitchers go, that would be maybe affordable. I mean, does Alex Wood excite you?
Very much so. I'm very excited.
Does Marcus Stroman excite you? But he's going to, I mean, does he excite you?
A, not really at this point. And B, all these guys are going to cost maybe more than they even have to spend after trading for Juan Soto.
Bringing back Seth Lugo excite you?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what you're getting. Absolutely. You know what you're getting.
Jordan Montgomery? He might.
Yeah, well, he would really excite you, and you're not going to get him because of the money. But I would say this. Were you excited last year when they signed Seth Lugo or Michael Wacha? Not overly, right?
Well,
just wait and see.
Because I felt very confident with the front end of the rotation.
Right.
Like I was confident with Musgrove, Darvish, and Snell.
Mm-hmm.
And to round out, like a Seth Lugo to round out your rotation, like that's good. But a Seth Lugo to be somebody that you have to heavily rely on next year.
Right.
That's a little scary. That's a scary thing. And it's not like he pitched 160 innings last year either.
What time are those Korea games going to be on?
Probably like 2 a.m.
What time is it in Korea?
It's a great question.
Brent usually can ask his phone that. We're what, 100 days ish?
They're 17 hours ahead of us.
17 hours.
10:21 a.m.
Okay. So the game is
Tomorrow.
going to be at a random time, is basically my point. But maybe not.
I say bring back Tommy Pham.
Well, it won't be
right
random.
now.
That's your move?
Bring back Tommy Pham.
That fixes everything.
And put him in the same outfield as Jock Peterson.
Yes.
I do like that. That was fun. That's a good idea.
Left-handed bat right there in Jock Peterson. Tommy Pham in
Who
the
was
outfield.
just in a World Series this past year.
World Series. Let's create chaos.
Who says no? All right, still ahead this hour, Jim's back page. Plus, you won't believe what a financial analyst on CNBC had to say today about the impact of legalized sports betting on men in America. You have to hear it to truly believe it. This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim. We're reacting to the Juan Soto trade as well. Stay with us. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you about my friends over at Novo Brazil Brewing. They are a proud supporter, by the way, of the Mesa Foundation Collective, San Diego State Aztecs men's basketball as well. I was down at their brewery just the other day. Lamont Butler was there, Jaden Ledee, Micah Parrish, Kate Alger, others. They were tasting different Nova Kombucha flavors for a new co-branded product that's going to be launched later this winter. So stay tuned for more on that. Also, would love to see you this weekend at their IB location, Imperial Beach. They're celebrating their 1-year anniversary. They've got a 1-year anniversary party this Saturday at noon. That's when doors open. Party starting an hour later at 1. They've got live music until 7:30 p.m. So if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, check them out at their IB location for their 1-year anniversary celebration. Also, they're getting ready to open up a brand new location, a fresh new spot in Mission Valley later this month. Novo Brazil Mission Valley. It's a 350-seat restaurant, full bar menu, 60 taps of Novo Brazil beer, the Nova Kombucha, which I absolutely love. Nothing compares to their Nova Kombucha. I've been picking some up recently at Windmill Farms. They have seltzers. They've got amazing food offerings, sandwiches, tacos, burgers, empanadas, appetizers, Brazilian-inspired entrees. For more information, they've got a number of locations right here in San Diego County. Visit novobrew.com. That's N-O-V-O brew.com.
All right, this update's brought to you by DraftKings. The Washington Capitals currently lead the Dallas Stars 1-0 with 7:14 left in the first period there. Wisconsin is up 15-7 over Penn State in the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship Regional Semifinal. And later tonight, the Lakers take on the Pelicans in the semifinal matchup of the in-season tournament. Winner will face the Pacers in the finals. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
You're so proud of yourself. I'm going to say this. If you're going to do that, and I give you credit for doing it, at least get the scores right. You said Wisconsin's leading Penn State 16-7. Well, it's the third set.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The match is tied at one set apiece.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Tied at one set. My bad. Winner of this set wins.
No, they don't. It's best of
best of five.
I remember my first time watching women's volleyball.
This is probably my first time.
Exactly. Now, Jim just brought something to my attention that is truly informational and valuable.
What did I do?
World Series odds 2024.
Oh!
Okay, where would you think the Padres would be? 2024 World Series odds updated today after the trade of Juan Soto. This is per Bet365?
Yes.
So where are they? Are they, 15th? Are they 10th? Are they 5th? Are they 25th? Where are they in terms of, odds to win the World Series? Then what are the odds? Are they 100 to 1? Or are they 10 to 1? Are they somewhere between?
12th.
Okay, you say 12th best odds, and you would say, give me a 20 to 1, 10 to 1, 5 to 1.
I never get the 20 to 1s.
You don't get those, right?
No.
Okay. So what are they, Jim?
They are currently 9th at plus 1,600. So
that is 16 to 1.
16 to 1.
And they are 9th best, 9th shortest odds.
Yes.
Only 8 teams in baseball have better odds to win the World Series.
Yes.
So they're favored then to make the postseason per Bet365.
Who's number one?
Yeah, who's number one?
Atlanta.
Yankees 2, 3.
You got the hold on. Atlanta, Dodgers.
Now these do include Soto being a Yankee.
Yeah, it does, right?
Yeah. Because there's a picture of Soto in a Yankees uniform.
Okay, so let's hear it. The shortest odds are who? Atlanta, Dodgers. What's the Atlanta odds?
Hold on, I lost it. I knew the first 3, but I don't know.
One set to none.
That's it. Okay, so Atlanta,
the
Yankees and the Dodgers have the shortest odds. The Padres are 16 to 1, 9th best odds to win the World Series.
Correct.
After Soto.
Yeah.
AJ Preller's doing something right.
It's not a rebuild.
Bet365. Now we have this developing story from Jon Heyman. Thank you, Will Holder, our producer. This is a direct quote from Jon Heyman. The Padres appear to be the front runners, or at the forefront of talks involving Korean free agent center fielder Jung-Hoo Lee.
When was this tweeted out?
9 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
And Lee especially makes sense now that the Padres have a couple new holes in their outfield. Jon Heyman within the last 11 minutes.
I don't know, man.
You're anti Jung-Hoo Lee for some reason.
I'm concerned about Jung-Hoo Lee. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that it can't work out. I just saw what Ha-Sung Kim did here his first 2 years, and I don't know if the Padres can afford to have that type of production.
First 2 years, Kim was good by his second year.
End of his second year, he got better, and then he blossomed in his third year. But his first year was bad.
I agree with that. Yeah,
really bad.
But they're not the same person.
No, they're not.
But you're saying that it can be hard. KBO, they say AA to AAA.
Yeah,
there's no adjustment.
Can he hit? Is he gonna have the same problems that Ha-Sung Kim had, which was couldn't hit a fastball his first year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about his defense in the outfield.
They say it's good.
Okay,
seriously.
I just getting guys that aren't major league proven type of guys is always a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have nothing to go off of. You can't say like, oh yeah, that guy last year for the Braves hit 315 or whatever the case may be.
Right.
It's this guy for the KBO, whatever team he was on,
the Kaiwoom Heroes.
Yeah, hit what, like 340 or something. He's really good. Like
last year he was hurt. He hit 318 with 6 homers in 86 games. The year before he hit 349 with a 996 OPS as a 24-year-old.
See, to me, I don't know how that translates.
Yeah, how does that compare to Ha-Sung Kim? Actually, it's an interesting thing to look up. I would assume it's better than Kim was hitting when he was in Korea. That's just my assumption.
Would you say though that Preller needs to move quickly here? Like he can't afford to wait on making moves.
Yeah, I probably to some extent. Yeah, man, not all the moves, but yeah, he's got to get going.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little less Christmas parties, a little less scout dinners, and a little more Jung Hoo Lee. Although they did the scout dinner and they did the trade.
Well, you know that that's Preller's like life. He always does less Christmas parties and more Jung Hoo Lee or whatever.
I agree. This is from Darnay Tripp, our producer.
Oh, thanks, Darnay.
Dennis Lynn wrote that Kim started working with Lee to get his swing major league ready, and that's why his numbers were down for a period last season. I did read that, by the way, Darnay. Thank you.
That will be about what, 5 cents for you there, Darnay, for that tweet or text?
Not that much.
That's a lot.
We don't pay him anything.
Yeah, I know.
But that is good. I mean, yes, apparently, here's the thing. Obviously, Kim said to adjust to major league velocity, he had to go through an adjustment in the major leagues. His best friend is Jung Hoo Lee. He's been working with Lee on those adjustments before he gets to the big leagues. That's interesting. Now, and his numbers weren't bad last year. He just hit for no power, and he was hurt.
I just am concerned. I'm concerned because I don't know if you can afford to have a guy,
right, like just not perform that first year, just kind of give it up to the adjustment,
like going through adjustment periods. And he'll be a beloved player here because him and Ha-Seong Kim will have cute moments together and they'll be great. It'll be viral for Padres fans, but I care about production on the field. And if this dude's not going to produce right away and it takes him a long time because he has to adjust to Major League Baseball,
right?
Like that to me is a problem.
So you're saying, like, is there an option between Jung Hoo Lee, who might take time to develop into a major league caliber, starting player on a good team? Is there between Jung Hoo Lee and Cody Bellinger? Are there other options? Of course there are. Even
Tommy
AJ
Pham
Preller said yesterday he's going to look at his system for center field. Talked about Jacob Marcy, or whatever.
Okay,
right? I mean, so I'm just saying, but that's going to happen. They're going to turn to their system, and they're going to have rookies on this opening day roster. They just will. Like, that's an inevitability.
Another player that's been mentioned with the Padres, Harrison Bader.
Right. I saw that. Rumored to the Giants and Padres, right?
Blah.
Okay.
Blah. Doesn't do it for me. I mean, like, the Jung Hoo Lee thing is interesting. I'm not going to say it's not. I just am concerned to almost borderline very concerned about that deal.
The 20, like, you got to have someone that can produce in 2024 because you're losing a lot.
Yeah.
So your outfield better be able to.
Yeah.
Tatis is great. We know that. But what about the other 2/3 of the outfield?
Right. Yeah. I better get some legitimate production out of you from day one.
All right.
You can't wait.
This is a good segue to a financial analyst on CNBC. Or should we save this for Jim's back page? Before Jim's back page?
Ooh.
We probably should.
It's a great, like, what the actual F soundbite.
It's a little long, so we might break early.
Okay, we could do that.
We'll do that.
All right. Darnay, don't go anywhere.
Darnay, what should we do? Should we break early?
Don't go anywhere. And if you have any sound for us to play on Jim's back page.
You're our producer, so
I love that.
Like, should we break a little early so we can play the sound on their side?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You're going to hear from a financial analyst on CNBC and what the impact of legalized sports betting could mean for men. Plus Jim's back page. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
Sorry.
All right. Jim's back page. That's on the other side. Stay with us. Man, the chat on YouTube. You should join us. If you haven't joined us on YouTube yet, you should find us, Jon and Jim 760.
Because we catch strays. Like
we do, man.
People that
they get so mad at us.
They're like, oh, they're talking about the
Yankee fan.
They're talking about Juan Soto and the Yankees, and they come in the chat.
Like, you guys are talking about the Padres.
And it's like, you guys are losers. You're an idiot.
Right. Exactly.
What's his name? Tony Two-Ton?
Tony Two-Ton. Anyway, who cares?
Respond, coward. Respond. I dare you.
Okay, a couple of things. I need to find this CNBC tweet.
Oh, you don't have it? way to give it to
Here it is.
Okay.
Okay. So before Jim's back page, this is ridiculous. Okay. This is on CNBC, a financial analyst implying what about the impact of legalized sports betting on young men. Listen to this.
Everyone talks about NVIDIA and its performance this year. DraftKings has doubled that performance. And you understand why. You have this massive secular wave behind it. So the negative impacts is that it's all young men. And I paralleled that with, or dovetail that with Pew Research, which says that 63% of young men are single. And that's the highest it's ever been. And 50% of those young men have no interest in dating, not even casually. And 30% of those men, or 30% of young men, say they have not had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. So the point being,
they're getting pleasure out of sports betting instead.
Sports betting now through technology is as easy as buying something, ordering a pizza online, or shopping online. And what you see is young men who've grown up with gaming are used to doing everything on their phone, and now they can do all sorts of betting on their phone. You can do real-time parlays on their phone during a game, and it's been explosive. So if you look at the growth so DraftKings says that they've doubled revenue every year, expected to double revenue over the next 3 years, but that's just on the existing states. So the most populous states don't have legalized online sports betting or sports betting, and that's California and Texas. So if those come online, you've got double, triple the type of revenue adjusted EBITDA. So, but what this means for housing then is you have the lowest household formation growth rate in over 60 years. It could be longer, but that's as long as the data has been comprised. And so you have young men who don't want to date and young women who are spending their time really with Instagram moments, going to the Taylor Swift concert. I don't know if you've been to them. It's all filmed about yourself at the Taylor Swift concert. So
they're not getting married and building homes.
So let me
honestly, we've played some dumb.
So pretty much no one's having sex because of sports gambling and Taylor Swift.
We have had dumb conversations on the show. We've played dumb takes on this show. That's dumb. What kind of correlation is DraftKings stock price to like?
What did people like?
Sex trends of people under the age of 35.
Did people think sports betting started in like 2018?
Another good point.
Like
you can now bet on your phone. Yeah, okay. You can do everything on your phone.
Yeah. Guess what? Sports betting has been around for I don't know, a long time.
Again, like that's way too direct of a correlation. Men aren't dating anymore because they have the DraftKings app. What? Dude, that's not a direct correlation. I'm sorry.
If I'm on DraftKings
and the housing market, wait, what?
It's just if I'm on DraftKings and all of a sudden I win big, I'm probably celebrating. How you doing?
Okay, there's that too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then again, more people lose than win, right? It's betting.
I guess people just hate their lives and like, I'm not having sex.
I need more money on this in-season tournament, in-game bet.
Give me the over-under on Tyrese Halliburton at 24.5 points tonight. If I don't win, I'm not going to have sex for the rest of my life.
If the Patriots don't cover the over-under tonight, I'm not having sex for
and I'm
6
not buying
months.
a home, I promise you that.
I'll rent forever.
All right, let's get to this.
Dude, you want Darnay, can we read this on air? Because it's pretty funny.
Text us if we can.
Yeah. Anyway, that's funny. Did you know, John, that McDonald's is launching a new spin-off restaurant called Cosmix?
No, I didn't. You know me? No, I didn't know that.
Which will sell coffee, snacks, and other drinks.
Coffee, snacks. So what is it? Starbucks?
It's like McDonald's, Starbucks.
But don't they already do that? That's already done well for McDonald's.
They did,
right?
and they cut a whole bunch of them off the menu.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Why this doesn't make sense.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
had you heard about this, Brent?
No.
So Cosmix.
Is it like regional or is it everywhere? Are they going to open thousands of these things?
It doesn't say where they're opening it up. It just says McDonald's is in the works for launching a new spin-off restaurant, which is basically like Starbucks.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, not everyone, it's a huge part of what Americans do, right? I mean, it's huge.
I mean, drive-through coffee places are everything. I mean, Starbucks.
Dude, it's everywhere.
There's this, no joke, over by where I used to live off of Friars Road. There's a Starbucks drive-through.
Next to a Starbucks.
Next to a Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you. There's a Starbucks drive-through. And then there's like a bridge over on Friars Road and over by the Ralphs. I don't know if you know where that is. And then you go under the bridge, probably it's like a 2-minute walk, 5-minute walk tops. And then there's another Starbucks drive-through, like 150 yards away. It's incredible. Like, dude, there's a Starbucks right there, and there's another Starbucks right here. It's insane. Starbucks are everywhere. Starbucks is taking
now
over.
Cosmos are going to be everywhere. What's it called? Cosmix?
Cosmix. Like Cosmix.
Opening soon or what? 2020? I mean, you got to build these things. I mean, opening now?
It didn't say. It just said they're in the works for launching a Cosmix.
Do we need that though? I feel like there's enough places to get coffees and drinks and snacks.
Yeah, I'm going to McDonald's for nuggets and burgers, not for coffee.
Right.
And
are you going to go to
donuts.
Cosmix? Because there's other options here, and a lot of them. Is it going to be the pricing?
I'm sure that
maybe
people will go.
They could undercut. I feel like they could go way lower than Starbucks on pricing. I mean, Starbucks isn't cheap, right?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So
no,
maybe that.
Even though Aaron has all of the Starbucks like perks.
Yes, right. I know what you're saying.
So when we go,
she's getting this, that, and the other.
She's just like, here's my $10 coupon, and I don't have to pay any money. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I can't wait to hear CNBC analyze that.
Speaking
Starbucks perks.
Speaking of Starbucks, this was on my back page.
Oh wow!
Each Thursday in December, so today, starting today. All right. Starbucks customers can enjoy a sip of their favorite festive goodness for half the price.
Oh.
Customers just need to be a Starbucks Rewards member to cash in on the deal. According to the Coffee Giants app, customers who join before noon on Wednesday or have already joined, so I guess you're SOL, can get half off a drink on Thursdays between noon and 6 p.m.
Oh, perfect. You have 7 minutes and 23 seconds.
So there you go. You got 7 minutes, guys.
Or next week.
Sign up for the Starbucks reward memberships, and you can get coffee for half off on Thursdays all through December. And now, by the way, Erin told me this the other day. She's like, I want to go to Starbucks to get a Starbucks drink in a holiday cup because
Because the red cup.
Because the holiday cup's like a big
marketing,
thing.
Man.
It really is, man. They know how to market. I get it.
We should change our Jon and Jim logo around the holidays. Put some what do they call it behind? I don't know, holiday stuff.
Nah, because then we just copy people.
Okay.
Yeah. We could. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Anything else?
No, that was it.
That's all you had.
Well, we had
Cosmics and
we're done.
Mickey D's.
The music is playing. What do you want me to do? Stay for another hour?
Yes.
Talk about this Red Wings Capitals game?
I would love
Red
that.
Wings. Who's that?
Dallas Stars.
No, it's the
Sharks.
Oh, it's the Sharks. Oh, that's great.
Okay. We're going to be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Is it Friday? It is. We'll be back tomorrow
thank God.
at 3 p.m. Getting you ready for a big weekend. San Diego State basketball Saturday night. More reaction, of course, to the Padres offseason plans. So join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. If you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. If you're listening to us on the podcast, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review, we really do appreciate that. You can find us on social media at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. We're back tomorrow at 3 for Brent and Jim. I'm John. Keep it right here. We got Lakers basketball in-season tournament next on San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Must-win game.